Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would answer a question that's really amusing to me, but I can understand why people ask it. And I can understand the logic behind why they might want to ask it. Yeah, because I want to know if I skip legs, can I get bigger arms? Because I don't want to do legs. Okay, the joking aside, the question that I was asked, and it's one I see frequently, of, hey, if I have this natural limit on the amount of muscle mass that I can hold if I don't train certain body parts, wink wink legs, can I make my arms or my chest bigger because I will reach my natural limit with different proportions? And the answer is no. Now, let's not even use the term natural limit. The reason we have natural limits is more of an issue of practicality rather than fact. And that's because you effectively see from all the data I've seen out there, you have what we would call diminished returns off of your gains. Every year of serious training that you put in, assuming it's balanced training and the whole body gets trained, this gets skewed if it's imbalanced training. But you will see about a 50% reduction in your gains with every year that you train, or any period of time compared to the next period of time, about a 50% reduction. So if you gained X amount of muscle year one, expect that to be cut in half year two. You continue to train with the same level of progression and intensity and effort. Year three, expect to gain 50% of what you gained in year two, which will be a fourth of what you gained in year one. And that will continue indefinitely. And you'll get to a point to where obviously you very quickly reach a threshold to where you're simply no longer gaining more than a pound or even less than a pound of muscle per year. And when you've reached that point, you're effectively at a natural limit. And that's where you can even apply those things like the fat-free mass index we talk about for drug-free lifters beyond about that 5 or 6 year threshold, because simply put, you're never going to change beyond that threshold. You're simply not going to change your fat-free mass index by a full point, probably for the rest of your training career from that point. You'd be hard-pressed to do it. Now, the issue becomes, where do we get these limits from? These limits assume that you're training your whole body effectively and that everything is maximally developed. And the things that your diminished returns on each muscle is not a product of your body says, I'm going to put on X amount of muscle and only that much. It's a product of, in a given hormone range and a hormonal environment with ideal stressors, a given muscle is only going to be able to grow so big relative to the size of the frame that it's attached to. So take me, for example. I have a completely different lower body structure than upper body structure. It's very easy for me to stack mass onto my legs, as you guys have seen. It is very difficult for me to stack mass onto my arms because I have small wrists, I have very long arms, I have high insertions. Whereas on my legs, I have short femurs with big fat muscle bellies. So I have more muscle fibers compared to the average person, and say in my legs and my glutes, than the average person does. But compared to a lot of other guys, I might have less total muscle fibers and a smaller frame to build on my upper body. So that is what determines your natural limits of how much muscle you can gain per week, per month, and how much that diminishes over time is based upon a product of your frame and how many muscle fibers and what muscle belly you start with. And that stuff is all genetically predisposed and developmentally predisposed up until you reach maturity. So you don't have real control over that. And so accordingly, the thing is, someone who chooses to stay drug-free, if they want to be more proportionate, they're going to have to back off on other muscle groups, mainly because those other muscle groups are going to have, depending upon their genetics, a much bigger or lower upper limit relative to other ones in the grand scheme of things. So oftentimes a truly balanced, developed, drug-free lifter will oftentimes have less total muscle if he stayed perfectly proportionate rather than just hit his natural limit on everything. But it's not a fact of he's going to gain muscle faster somewhere else because he doesn't train something else. It doesn't work that way. That's not what establishes the limits. It's not your body saying, I am going to gain this small amount of muscle mass and that's it. And so I need to pick where it goes. It doesn't work that way. Your body will base it upon what's already there, how many fibers you have, what sort of structure it has to build upon when determining how big it will let a muscle get in a given hormone environment. And people forget that even with hormones, it's not as big as they think it is. What we know from studies in males is that you also see a diminished returns with dose of testosterone, the primary anabolic hormone in your body that actually converts and produces a lot of these other anabolic hormones. When we double the amount that we give someone, they only see a 50% increase in gain. Right? So if you were to inject double the amount of testosterone that your body produces as a healthy young man, it will only boost the amount of muscle you gain 50%, not 100%. When we double that again, it only produces 50% more. So again, it doesn't double it again. Even if you've gone fourfold over your original dose, you still haven't quite doubled the total muscle you're going to gain. And that's what the research says. By increasing your testosterone to 4 times what your body produces on its own, if you're in the healthy range and you're healthy and active and you produce a healthy amount. So again, all of these things are relative to the hormone levels, obviously, but it is your structure that determines your upper threshold of gains, or at least the rate of diminished returns over time in which you'll be able to achieve before the returns are diminished so much that you see virtually nothing significant year to year. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.